Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into a real RC legend, the Tamiya Frog. And we're going to tackle this rumor, this myth that's been floating around forever in the community.
Right, the idea that those vintage aftermarket springs from CRP,
Yes.
that they just won't fit the modern re-release Frog.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack that, show you why maybe that's not quite right, and explore how a specific tuning choice you've made actually works really well for, like, high-impact driving.
Bashing.
Let's dig in.
Okay, so the Tamiya Frog. It first hit the scene back in '83. Kit number 58041. A real game changer, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It had that revolutionary ORV chassis,
Yeah.
an ABS plastic space frame, they call it, super lightweight for the time, advanced suspension.
And it was so good. I mean, it basically became the blueprint for other big Tamiya names, like the Blackfoot, right? Yeah, exactly. The Blackfoot, Monster Beetle, several icons owe their start to that ORV design. And what's really interesting is how Tamiya handled the re-release in 2005, Kit 58354. Their whole philosophy seemed to be keep the basic structure essentially unchanged.
So that space frame, the foundation, it's dimensionally the same.
Pretty much identical where it counts. Yeah, maybe the plastic looks a bit glossier or markings are different, but functionally no impact. The critical spots, like where the rear trailing arms pivot, the shock mounting points, they kept those dimensions precisely the same.
You hear it all the time from hobbyists, right? Oh, yeah, the ReRe parts fit the original fine.
Exactly. That real-world experience confirms it. Direct interchangeability.
Okay, so if the chassis is basically the same, dimensionally,
Right.
where does this myth about the springs not fitting even come from? Seems kind of persistent.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think the smoking gun, if you like, is probably in the updates Tamiya did make for the re-release. They focused on durability, making things easier to service, not changing the actual shape or fit.
Okay, like what?
Well, the drivetrain, for one, the old hex drive shafts, they were a known weak spot, pretty fragile.
Oh, yeah, I remember those snapping.
Right, so they swapped those for modern, much tougher dog bone style shafts. A definite improvement. But the biggest thing, and probably the source of the confusion, it's the dampers, the shocks.
Oh, okay.
The re-release got updated oil dampers. Internally, they switched from the original floating piston design to a diaphragm type. Much easier to rebuild, the threaded end caps, replaceable O-rings, stuff like that.
So an internal upgrade for maintenance and performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the crucial point. While they modernized the insides of the shock, they were really careful to keep the external dimensions the same. The overall length, the shock body diameter, how the spring perches were designed.
The parts the spring actually touches.
Precisely. Those dimensions were meticulously preserved. And that's why those vintage CRP springs, made for the original Frog, slide right onto the re-release shocks. No problem at all.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. The internal changes confuse people, maybe. So let's talk about your setup then. You're using these softer springs, CRPs maybe, with lighter oil for what you call high-impact bashing. What does that actually do for performance?
Right. Well, thinking about vehicle dynamics, it's a very smart tuning choice for that kind of driving. Softer springs, meaning a lower spring rate, compress more easily.
Okay.
So over rough ground, loose dirt, whatever, the wheels can follow the terrain much better. It maximizes tire contact, giving you way more mechanical grip. Your Frog just kind of sticks to the ground better, absorbing bumps instead of bouncing off them.
Right, so more traction.
Exactly. Then you pair that with lighter damper oil, say Tamiya #300, which is around 25 or 30 weight. This lets the suspension react faster, move more quickly.
Why is faster better there?
It prevents something called packing up. That's when you hit a series of bumps quickly and the suspension doesn't have time to rebound fully between hits. It gets progressively more compressed.
If you lose traction, right? It stiffens up.
You got it. So light oil lets it rebound quickly, keeping the wheels on the ground, the combination. Soft springs, light oil. It creates this really plush, active suspension. It's all about maximizing grip and compliance for unpredictable surfaces rather than trying to get the absolute fastest lap on a smooth track.
And clearly, your own experience using this setup for bashing proves it works. That's the best kind of validation, isn't it? Real-world results.
Absolutely. Nothing beats seeing it work yourself.
But say you wanted to tweak it a bit more, maybe for different bashing spots. What's next?
Yeah, you could definitely fine-tune, like if you were taking it to a skate park, lots of hard landings off concrete ramps, you might want to go up in oil viscosity, maybe Tamiya #400 or even #500. That adds more damping resistance, slows the compression a bit on those big hits, helps stop the chassis from slapping the ground, bottoming out.
Okay, thicker oil for harder landings. Makes sense.
But for that dusty, loose lot you mentioned, your current setup soft springs, hashtag 300 oil that's pretty much spot on, you're maximizing grip where traction is already low.
Perfect.
And if you really want to get into the weeds, the next level is changing the pistons inside the shocks.
Yeah.
Different numbers of holes change the damping flow. More holes equals less damping, fewer holes equals more. Really nuanced stuff.
So wrapping up our deep dive then, we've pretty conclusively, I think, busted that myth. Vintage CRP springs, totally compatible with the re-released Tamiya Frog.
Absolutely. The core design holds up.
And we've seen how your tuning strategy, softer springs, lighter oil, is actually a really effective approach for bashing.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how robust and adaptable that original Frog design really was. Still relevant today.
It really does. And this whole discussion, it kind of highlights something important, doesn't it? Sometimes the best answers come from really understanding the basic principles, the physics of it, and maybe questioning those bits of common knowledge that get passed around. Makes you wonder, what other firmly held truths in the hobby might be worth taking a closer look at? Food for thought.